Welcome back. You're still watching Network Africa on Channels Television. We're still looking at activities in Kenya. Now, 14 suspected Al-Shabaab operatives, including 6 men linked to the Garissa University massacre, where 148 people were killed, appeared in a Nairobi court on Tuesday, April the 7th. Chilling survivor testimonies recounting how gunmen from Somalia's Al-Shabaab militant group hunted down and killed students have shocked Kenya and the world over. 6 suspects were taken to court on Tuesday in connection with the attack, but for the time being, the chief magistrate granted them 30 days to complete investigations while holding the suspects in custody. The state prosecutor in this matter, that's Daniel Karuri, told the courts that police were following strong leads linking the suspects, including the owner of the hotel where those who attacked the university had stayed, as well as those who allegedly delivered weapons to the attackers and were intercepted while crossing over to Somalia after the bloodbath. Now, we did tell you about the protest or march which took place in Kenya yesterday following the university attack. Hundreds of students partook in the march, which happened in Nairobi, and took a stand against the Al-Shabaab group responsible. However, they also pointed accusing fingers at the government, saying that security forces should have done more to protect the Garissa students. Some protesters believe that most of those killed at the university could have been saved if security forces had responded quicker. However, the government has denied that security forces took too long to act, while also vowing to intensify efforts to curb the violence. However, other protesters believe the government should make more of an effort to improve the capacity of security forces.
If Al-Shabaab military can hire those who are learned PhD holders, why is the government employing Class 8 dropouts?
Indeed, it does appear as though the Garissa University attack was the straw that broke the camel's back, as the Kenyan government is executing an all-round crackdown on Al-Shabaab. Not only has the government asked for more support from the West and also carried out some airstrikes targeting Al-Shabaab bases in Somalia, but now it's also targeting the group financially. The Interior Ministry has confirmed that Kenya's government has ordered the closure of 13 money transfer firms to prevent militant Islamists from using them to finance attacks. The bank accounts of 86 individuals and entities had also been frozen, and those targeted are believed to include a Somali-linked bus company and a hotel. Kenyan officials have repeatedly accused Somalis in the country of colluding with the militants. Nearly 500,000 refugees are in the country, and many of whom have fled decades of conflict and drought in Somalia. We'll be speaking to an expert shortly concerning funding terrorism, but before that, South Africa is playing host to the Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe and his wife Grace. The couple was welcomed this morning by none other than the South African President Jacob Zuma in what is President Mugabe's first state visit for 20 years, where he hopes to attract foreign investment to kickstart his economy. The 91-year-old Zimbabwean president will hold private talks with Zuma to sign off on a number of trade and investment agreements. Zimbabwe owes foreign creditors, including the International Monetary Fund and World Bank, $9 billion and is intensifying efforts to have the debt cancelled or rescheduled to allow it to access new loans. South Africa is Zimbabwe's biggest trading partner, with exports at over $2 billion, while Zimbabwe's exports to South Africa, that's $169 million. Well, before we talk to our South Africa correspondent, Betty Dibia, we have to connect with Amy Moses, who is the editor-in-chief of West Africa Business News, and he will be speaking to us concerning what has happened in Kenya. As regards the government executing an all-round crackdown on Al-Shabaab by focusing on targeting its financiers. Now, the Interior Ministry has confirmed that Kenya's government has ordered the closure of 13 money transfer firms to prevent militant Islamists from using them to finance attacks. Amy Moses, thank you for joining us on Network Africa.
It's my pleasure, Cynthia.
Thank you so much. Now, when it comes to funding terrorism, how exactly is money transferred so covertly?
Yes, like you already mentioned, when it comes to funding terrorism, the finance is usually secretive. Most time is done through money laundering. The funds may be moved from one state to another, particularly in those states where you have the state sponsors terrorism.
Now, okay, carry on.
Okay, you can recall that ISIS is known, reputed for raising its own funds. You know that it established a chain of oil refineries and trafficking in oil, collects heavy taxes and smuggles oil from oil fields it controls in Syria and Iraq, and raises millions and millions of dollars. So terrorists have several ways of raising funds, to continue their activity. Apart from laundering, establishing oil refineries, some money flow from some demo countries, foreign countries, some of them, and these things are done, covertly, from ordinary people.
Now, why do these funds go unnoticed for such a long time?
Yes, it goes on for a long time unnoticed because sometimes they are hidden. Some particularly states that sponsor terrorism, channel these funds, through some of the activities in some countries. And we think that fund coming into that country, flowing into that country is the execution of certain projects for the benefit of their people. Unknown to us, that such funds are actually being raised, to fund terrorism. You can remember what happened between Qatar and UK. The lots of money that were channeled into UK from Qatar for thinking that they were for some good projects, unknown to the UK government that some of those funds were being used to sponsor terrorism.
So how?
Some of these criminal gangs, get involved into kidnapping. They smuggle, they kidnap, they extort money. Several ways that they employ.
Now, finally, Amy, how can these financial operations, which is actually used to fund terrorism, be made more apparent?
Well, the state has to be all I'm doing. Every country now, scrutinizes every funding, every funds that come into their countries. The security agents have to have every eye to scrutinize every transaction, that comes into every country. For instance, that I am in our plan here. Once you are bringing in money or transferring anything above 10 million, they will have to ask you questions. You have to answer some questions. You have to state clearly where this fund is coming from, what it's going for. So these are some of the things that states are doing to ensure that they scrutinize, the outflow and inflow of funds to stop terrorists from having a field day.
Well, Amy Moses, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now, Amy Moses is the editor-in-chief of West Africa Business News, and he's been speaking to us concerning how terrorism is financed, and covertly at that. We'll take a break now on Network Africa. When we come back, we'll be telling you more about the President Mugabe's visit with his wife to South Africa. We'll speak to our South Africa correspondent, Betty Dibia, to get the latest. Please stay with us.